Regulated tariffs are one of the elephants in the room. The markets can evolve without regulated tariffs, and that will actually be beneficial to customers. The reasons why we don't have regulated, why we still persist on having regulated tariffs, has to do that governments fear that prices will increase without regulated tariffs, and this is actually interesting to think about it, because as we are seeing the last increase in prices is mostly due to tax and levies and not by the market. The market has been actually delivering a reduction on prices, but taxes and levies have increased from 2008 to 2012 around 30%, and tax and levies today represents 30% of the bill. So at the end, though governments fear that the end or the removal of regulated tariffs may increase prices, in the end, governments are the ones that are actually increasing the prices. So this is an inconsistency, and actually makes that most of these concerns are not totally correct. There are other reasons. The other reason has to do with competition. Governments sometimes they don't believe that markets can truly deliver competitive prices or effective prices, and this is actually not true. I mean, as I was saying, the wholesale market price has been dropping actually so dramatically that today there are concerns if it is big enough for new investments, that in some markets there is a need for those new investments, and so if markets are actually delivering, and there was this kind of concern 10 years ago, and today there isn't this kind of concern, why don't we have oversight but let the markets work? And today, for example, telecommunications, people all agree, and consumers are satisfied with telecommunications. We all think that we have very competitive prices on telecommunications. Telecommunications has delivered a lot of innovation. Why is energy so much different from telecommunications? So we believe that soon the market liberalizes. Innovative solutions, new technologies and so on, they will also appear in the energy sector. The third element has to do with other, social concerns that governments have. One important concern has to do with tariffs for vulnerable customers, and you can have a liberalized market and also address vulnerable consumers. There are many countries with solutions for this kind of customers, but at the end, I think it's very important that we all think about what does it mean a vulnerable consumer, what means fuel poverty, and why fuel poverty is so much different from food poverty. We don't ask the food companies to sell food at a lower price to some clients, and why should we make a difference on energy? Poverty needs to be addressed, and poverty has many faces, many angles, and needs to be addressed. And the way to address it is through the state budget and through progressive taxation. And that's the more fair approach for this problem. So all of these elements show that there are reasons to start abolishing or removing regulated tariffs. There are other reasons for taking out regulated tariffs, and one has to do with increasing customer satisfaction and innovation. And there are many examples in the market where this is totally seenable. I think that in the end, there are many models. I mean, you can look to many countries, and each country has their own model. Because when you go on a wholesale, it's easier to have similar market arrangements. But when you go to retail, the previous history of each country makes things different. And so, for example, the ad corrente unico is something that Italy has and not many other countries have. So it's different, and you need to start from this position to a different market model. What I think is irrelevant is what do we want as an end game at the end of the day, because then we are just going to discuss how much are we how we are going to do it, and what is the path to get there. For example, Portugal has an ad corrente único, and right now we don't have it. And that's not a problem. And we still have some kind of a regulated tariff that is going to end. It was supposed to end in 2015. Now it was postponed to 2017. But at the end of the day, there is an understanding that this is to take out and to just let the market work. On the switching that you were saying, switching rules and data are very important elements in the process. I think that there are experiences on switching on each of the countries that should be understood and then define a benchmark for which you just stipulate the service levels agreements that you want for the switching, and companies have to just comply with that, and that is sufficient to work.